Welcome, family. Movies Brief here.
Today, I am going to explain the science fiction drama film called Mr. Nobody. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie is set in the year 2092. Humanity has conquered mortality through the endless renewal of cells. A 118-year-old man named Nemo is the last mortal left on Earth. Everyone else on Earth is quasi-immortal and no longer suffers from illnesses or aging. This has come at a cost, and these quasi-immortal humans can no longer procreate. Although he is evidently older, Nemo insists that he is 35 years old and was born in the year 1975. Scientists researching life before humans attained immortality believe that Nemo has lost his memory, with no recollection or written records of his past anywhere. People start calling Nemo Mr. Nobody. He spends his life under 24/7 surveillance, and people vote every week to decide whether or not he should be allowed to naturally pass away or be artificially kept alive. Curious to know about Nemo's past, a psychiatrist named Dr. Feldheim uses hypnosis to help him recall some of his memories. The hypnosis helps Nemo access his subconsciousness, reaching as far back as the time even before his conception. While Dr. Feldheim is away, a journalist sneaks into the facility where Nemo is kept and takes his interview. Nemo reveals to the journalist that all unborn babies reside in heaven and remember everything that can happen in their future, as well as how it can be altered if they make certain choices. However, before they are born, the angels of oblivion erase their memory. Somehow, the angels forget about Nemo, allowing him to remember different possible futures for himself. This means that the present-day 118-year-old forgetful Nemo can recall his different probable pasts, and somewhere among them is the one actual life that he led. Nemo further reveals that the babies get to choose their parents, and he chose his mother because she smelled nice. Nemo was born with the ability to foresee all possible futures. At the age of 9, he tells his mother about the Angels of Oblivion. His mother tells him to quit playing Skyrim. He correctly predicts that his father's car will go out of control and kill a lady. However, Nemo's mother doesn't believe him and tells him that people can only see the past, not the future. Nemo's mother is justified in thinking this. Some 13.7 billion years ago, our universe, which was smaller than a proton, exploded and started rapidly expanding. After the Big Bang, 3 spatial and 1 temporal dimensions were deployed. While the spatial dimension allowed us to freely travel within what we know as width, height, and depth, the temporal dimension doesn't offer that same freedom. The arrow of time, as we know it, only moves in one direction, and its most evident proof is that we can only see our past and not our future. So, if Nemo is able to see the future, that would mean that time can be reversed, which we haven't witnessed yet. One day, Nemo notices his mother walking into the woods by herself. He follows her and sees her cheating on his father with another man. The infidelity eventually comes to light, and Nemo's parents have a huge fight, which ends in divorce. They go their separate ways, and poor Nemo is forced to choose one of his parents, as his mother leaves on a train while his father stays on the platform. In one instance, Nemo decides to board the train with his mother and move to Canada, while in another, he stays with his father. In the instance where he leaves with his mother, Nemo becomes a rebellious teenager. He tries his best to scare his mother's boyfriend, Harry, away. Meanwhile, Nemo's dad meets with an accident and becomes disabled. At school, Nemo notices a new girl, Anna, and is instantly smitten with her. One day, Anna approaches him on the bench and asks him if he would like to swim with her and her friends. However, Nemo rudely declines her, telling her he doesn't swim with idiots. Offended, Anna leaves and they barely see each other again. 2 decades pass by, and Nemo one day runs into Anna with her 2 kids at the train station. They awkwardly greet each other before parting ways, and Nemo regrets insulting Anna at the beach when he was young. Nemo again revisits his choice at the beach, and when Anna approaches him, he truthfully admits to her that he cannot swim. The two then spend time together. A few days pass by. Nemo is unable to fend off his mother's boyfriend. Harry moves in with him and his mother with his daughter. It turns out that Anna is Harry's daughter, making Nemo her stepbrother. Awkward. Nemo and Anna have mutual disgust for their parents' relationship, and over time get romantically close to one another. Nemo starts sneaking into Anna's room at night, behind his mother's back. Eventually, Nemo's mother and Harry find out about the step-siblings' affair and decide to separate to break them up. Nemo and Anna are heartbroken by the news. Anna makes Nemo promise to wait for her at the lighthouse every Sunday until they see each other again. Anna moves to New York with her father. Nemo waits for Anna at the lighthouse for months but never meets her, while Anna sends him letters, but Nemo's mother hides them from Nemo, and eventually they both lose touch. Nemo becomes more and more distant from his mother. 2 decades pass by. Nemo still dearly remembers Anna. He works as a pool cleaner, hoping to one day run into Anna, who loves swimming. That's like taking a job at Burger King, because you know your crush likes to eat. Eventually, they finally see one another at the train station and immediately recognize each other in a crowd of passers-by. The two embrace each other and passionately make up for the time they lost. Anna tells him that while she was kept away from him, she vowed that she would never love anyone else, ever. She never became attached to anyone. She had nothing for herself. She only pretended to be alive. This moment is what she has been waiting for all this time. She renounced all possible lives and loves for him. However, she adds that she is not used to loving him anymore. She is terrified of losing him again and going through the hell she went through when they were separated at 15. She tells him that she needs more time. Anna gives him her number, asks him to call her in 2 days, and meet at the lighthouse. However, he loses her number when a sudden downpour makes her note illegible. Nemo waits at the lighthouse every day, but Anna does not come. In a different storyline, Anna and Nemo get married and have children. He works as the host of a TV show, which explains various scientific phenomena. One evening, while driving home from work, Nemo hits a bird and loses control of his car. The out-of-control car plummets into a lake, and Nemo drowns. With none of these life paths ending happily, Nemo explores the life he would have led had he chosen to stay with his father. In this instance as well, Nemo's father meets with an accident and becomes disabled. Nemo starts working at a local shop when he is not in school or taking care of his father. In his leisure time, he likes riding bikes and writing science fiction stories about a journey to Mars at home on his typewriter. At a school party, Nemo meets a girl named Elise and develops feelings for her. However, he freezes in front of her. When Elise encourages him to say something, the nerd starts talking about Mars. Elise laughs at his nerdiness and makes him swear that when she dies, he will spread her ashes on Mars. Some days later, he goes to Elise's house to ask her out, but he sees her with her ex-boyfriend, Stefano. Frustrated, he speeds away on his motorcycle and gets into an accident that sends him into a vegetative state. Though he can perceive the world through his senses, Nemo cannot move or speak. He senses his parents' reunion at his bedside. Nemo tries to remember the movement of his fingers on the typewriter keyboard and eventually manages to lift a finger as this storyline comes to a close. Nemo again reverses back to the time when he saw Elise with Stefano. This time, after Stefano leaves, Nemo approaches Elise and professes his love for her. Elise breaks into tears and confesses that she is in love with Stefano, but he doesn't love her back. Elise then politely rejects him and leaves. Once again heartbroken, Nemo vows to marry the first girl who will dance with him at the school prom. That night, he meets a cute girl named Jean and dances with her. While returning home with her, Nemo takes several pledges. He vows to marry Jean and become rich and successful. Years pass by. Nemo has a beautiful wife, 2 children, and a big house, but he is still unhappy with his life. After feeling discontent with his destination, despite having planned his life, Nemo starts making all of his decisions randomly via coin toss. He writes over all his possessions to Jean and leaves his family. At the airport, the coin leads him to pretend to be a passenger named Daniel Jones, who is taken to a hotel by a waiting chauffeur. In Daniel's hotel room, Nemo is murdered by 2 assassins who mistake him for Daniel Jones. Nemo again revisits the time when he was at Elise's house. Nemo learns that Elise is in love with her ex-boyfriend, but he does not back down and convinces her to give him a chance. A few years pass by, and the two get married. In one version of the storyline, Elise dies in a blast shortly after they get married. Fulfilling his promise, Nemo keeps her ashes and embarks on a journey to Mars. While returning back to Earth after spreading Elise's ashes on the planet's surface, Nemo meets Anna aboard the spacecraft. However, before they can say much to each other, the ship is destroyed by meteoroids. In an alternate version of events, Nemo and Elise are married with 3 children. However, Elise is suffering from several borderline personality disorders and chronic depression. She frequently experiences panic attacks, and despite Nemo's several attempts to save their marriage, Elise ultimately leaves him to pursue Stefano. While running through all the paths he could take or has taken, Nemo time and again wakes up in a surrealistic world that seems like a movie set, possibly indicating that it is not a possible path of Nemo's life. Nemo follows several clues he finds scattered throughout the city and ultimately reaches a crumbling, abandoned, wooden-framed house. Inside, he finds a DVD player hooked up to a television screen. In the oddly interactive video, the 118-year-old Nemo converses with the 34-year-old one. The older Nemo explains that the life the younger Nemo is living is the older Nemo's past, and therefore time is inverted for him. The older Nemo further reveals that the younger Nemo doesn't exist in this particular universe, because in this universe, Nemo was never born, and it is all the possible life paths being played in the mind of the unborn baby Nemo's consciousness in heaven. Still following? Okay, moving on. The older Nemo states that he is experiencing the story from the end, and that he must stay alive until 5:50 a.m. on the 12th of February, 2092. After hearing all of the possible storylines, the journalist becomes confused as to which story is the actual past of the 118-year-old Nemo. Nemo tells him that each one of these are the right ones. Each path is the right path. The response puzzles the journalist even more, and he asks Nemo how he can exist after dying. He wonders if there's something called an afterlife. Nemo laughs him off and asks him how he can be sure if he even exists. Nemo then goes on to tell him that neither of them exist. They are figments in the mind of the 9-year-old Nemo at the train station, as he was forced to make an impossible choice. In order to find the correct decision, the young boy follows each choice to its conclusion. However, after going through all of his options, it has become even more difficult for young Nemo to make his decision. Nemo ultimately decides to take the third option, which is to not make the choice at all. He leaves both parents and runs away towards an unknown future. Sometimes in chess, the only viable move is to not move. All the instances that were playing in Nemo's head begin to crumble as he has made his decision clear. The movie cuts back to the old Nemo on his deathbed. Just before he passes away, Nemo recalls his reunion with Anna and recites Anna's name. It is revealed that Anna ultimately came to the lighthouse and reunited with Nemo. This version of Nemo's life and all events that led to it were the real ones. Now, the question remains, how was Nemo able to see the future? Lo and behold, at 5:50 a.m., the expansion of the universe comes to a halt and it begins to contract, resulting in the reversal of time. The universe is undergoing a big crunch. After expanding for billions of years from a small point of singularity to billions of light years in diameter, the gravitational forces have finally counterbalanced the forces of expansion, i.e., the dark matter. Just as the temporal dimension was opened after the Big Bang, it is now being closed during the retraction of the universe. Time is reverting. Consequently, Nemo is able to return to his childhood, watch his parents get back together, and be with Anna. The 118-year-old man cackles triumphantly as he springs back into awareness with the realization that his younger self has finally found his one true love and life. This movie should have been called Nemo Finds Himself. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thank you.